It's that zesty flow, no shame on the flow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that zesty flow.
In the last class, we were discussing what is called as abstract classes, and I asked you, do you have any questions with respect to the points whichever I have displayed on the screen? If you don't have a question, then you have to answer my questions. My question is something like this. So what is the point it was saying? Let me just show you the point, then we will see what is my question exactly. I have a doubt with respect to this particular last point. Okay, so what is the last point says? Abstract classes can have constructors, member variables, and the normal methods as a similar to a class. Right now, my question is something like this. Now it is saying that it can have a constructor. Okay, so no problem with respect to that, but the question is, can we create object of a abstract class? Can we create object of a abstract class? Say for example, abstract class X. I have some definition in this particular class. Now my question is, can I create object of this particular abstract class? Can we? I think you got my question. My question is, when a class is abstract class X, you cannot create object of this particular class. But the statement is saying that you can have something called as a constructor in this particular abstract class. Right? So what is the statement is saying? It is saying that it is feasible. You can write a constructor of a abstract class. That means if I am writing a constructor of abstract class, what does it mean? This particular constructor need to be executed when the object of this particular class has been created, right? When a constructor will execute. Constructor will execute when you are creating object of that particular class, right? So now my question is, when you are clear that when a JVM is clear that you cannot create an object of a class X, right? Then what might be the purpose of going with a constructor in X? Right? So my question is, what is the use of keeping a constructor in an abstract class? My question is a straightforward. There was a statement saying that constructor, means abstract class can have a constructor, right? So this is the statement which was there on the slide. What was the statement? Abstract class can have a constructor. Okay, now there was a one more point saying that you cannot create object of a abstract class, right? When you are not able to create object of a abstract class, when you are not able to create object of a abstract class, then what is the purpose of a constructor, right? This is my question. I need an answer for this one. What you do is you go through the net, you just cross check what is the purpose of a constructor in abstract class. Understand, because why am I giving this particular thing as for your understanding or as an it enforced to create object. Okay, have a better clarity, means this question is for your assignment. What is the purpose of creating constructor in abstract class? This is a question that you have to search in a net, come up with a solution. In the next class, I'll be asking an answer for this particular question randomly to any one of you. Is that clear? In today's class, we are going to discuss what is object class, and we are going to discuss with respect to inner classes, what do you mean by like how to use, what is the purpose of your anonymous classes. right? Shall we proceed with the object classes first, then we'll go to anonymous inner classes. In a Java, any question in the chat box? Super to access. I think that this topic is related to accessing, that means using a super, you will be accessing, that means using a super keyword to call a constructor, something like that. What is a complete statement? What is a complete statement in a syllabus copy? One second. Super, which line? Super class reference and a subclass object. This we have discussed. Method overriding discussed. Overridden methods support polymorphism. Yes, overridden methods support polymorphism because you will be having a more than one definition. So both the methods are different. Parent class method will be different. Child class method will be different. Why overridden methods? Because you want a new definition in a child class, so that particular overridden. Can you just point me in which line from this particular inheritance concept? This is line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of these lines, which lines topic? Third line. 1, 2, 3. This line. Using a super to access superclass members. Yeah, this is a super keyword itself. See, super you can use as a keyword. Super dot instance variable. It will call the instance variable of a parent. Super dot m1. Then you are talking about parent class m1 method. Super followed by just a brackets, super constructor. Then you are talking about the constructor of a parent. Super to access superclass members, right? Superclass members. What are the superclass members? Instance variables, methods, constructors. So these are the members of a superclass. So for this we need to study access first. Not required to study access. You just need to know what is the use of a super. We have to understand this is just with respect to super keyword. See, here you have a super to call a superclass constructors, right? One topic is with respect to constructors. Then another topic is with respect to accessing a members and methods. Polymorphism means many forms, right? See, if your question is overridden method supports polymorphism. General polymorphism is nothing but a method overloading. General polymorphism is nothing but a method overloading. Method overloading in the sense, same name will be given but the argument list will be different, right? Why it is called as a polymorphism? Because the same name is there but behaving differently based on the arguments, right? Here also you will be having a same name, but based on the object you are going to create, based on an object which you are calling, different methods will be executing. Say for example, overriding in the sense parent class also have a same method, child class is also having a same method. If I am creating object of a parent, then a parent method will execute. If I am creating object of a child, then a child method will be executing, right? Polymorphism, many forms based on an object which you have created. Any other questions? Okay, then let us proceed with what is called as object class, right? In a Java, your object class, that means there is a class which is called as an object class, right? This is an inbuilt class and which is considered as the parent class for all the classes. What I mean to say is, if you are just writing class X, right, internally this particular class X will be extending a class called a object, right? So what did I say now? If you are generally writing something as a class X, right, you might be just writing a class X without writing any extend statement or whatever the thing is there to inherit a properties. You are not writing all those extend keyword. You are just writing a class X, right? Even though if you are writing just a class X, this particular class will be having a properties from the class called a object class, right? So what is the first point is saying? Object class is present in a java.lang package, and in our execution of a normal programs also we are not writing a import java.lang, right? Nothing we are writing, but implicitly JVM will import that particular package for us, right? So whatever we are discussing with respect to object class, those things are existing inbuilt whenever you are writing something called as class X, right? So object class is present in a java.lang package. Every class in a Java is directly or indirectly derived from an object class, right? So what does it mean? You are not writing extends keyword, but there is a link between an object class and your normal class, whatever you are writing, right? So let me just show you what does exactly I mean. Hope this is visible, right? So what I'm saying is, if I'm writing just a class X, I'm not extending anything. Even though if I'm writing just a class X, internally this will be a something like class X extends what is called as object, right? So this will be your internal representation. Internally, this is how it will be doing, right? If I represent those things diagrammatically, it will be something like this. If you are creating a class X, if you are creating some class X, if I say this one is a class X, by default it will be having a properties from the class called object class, right? So this is how you will be showing the property of inheritance, right? Now say for example, if I am writing a statement something like class Y extends X, right? If I say something like class Y extends X, then this diagram will become something like this. There will be a one more arrow mark which shows this. This is a class Y extending a X class. In turn, this particular X class is extending a object class, right? So this is how internally the classes will be created, and for each and every class directly, so means this is a direct connection with respect to object class. This is an indirect connection to the object class. That means this class Y first extending the properties of a class X. In turn, class X is extending the properties from an object class, right? So B, so means you have an assumption that there is a supreme class with respect to all these different classes which you are creating with respect to Java. Not only with respect to the user defined classes, you have a system defined classes, right? So many libraries are there. For all those libraries also, your object class is the parent class for everything, right? So this obviously, as she has said, so this creates something like a multi-level architecture, multi-level hierarchy, right? So there is a supreme class which is called as an object class. All other classes are nothing but child classes of this particular object class, right? So when I say object is a class, then it should be having its methods defined. That means whenever you say some class, there will be some methods defined, right? So even this particular object class has got a few inbuilt methods with it, right? Out of a, so means there are a lot of methods defined with respect to a that particular object class, and a few of methods we have already seen, and a few methods we have not seen, right? So let us just quickly go through the points whatever I have specified in a slide. If you are clear with those, then we will see what are the methods available with respect to object class. Okay, so the first point is object class is a parent in a java.lang package. Every class in a Java is directly or indirectly derived from the object class. Okay, if a class does not extend any other class, then it is a direct child class of an object, right? We have seen if it is not extending, and if extends other class, then it is indirectly derived, right? I have shown you a class Y. Okay, therefore the object class methods, that means your parent class, right? Object class is nothing but a complete parent class, right? Therefore the object class methods are available to all Java classes. Okay, so therefore the object class methods are available to all Java classes. Whichever class you create, obviously whatever the methods defined in object class, everything will be available for these particular Java classes. Hence, object class acts as a root of inheritance hierarchy in any Java program, right? So clear with these things, right? You have a something called as a object class, which is nothing but a parent class for every other classes, right? Whenever you are declaring a normal class X, right, there will be a inheritance property implicitly taken from the object class. That means there will be a properties which are taken from object class directly, right? So as we have said already, here you have a different methods in object class. Let us just take a quick glance on what are those methods. And I told you already few of these methods we have seen and a few methods we have not seen, right? So whichever methods you have not seen till now, don't worry about those things. Further, when we are going with respect to topics called as synchronization and all, you will be seeing most of these methods, right? Out of this, I will just highlight whichever the methods we have seen till now. We have seen something called as finalize. This was called by garbage collector, right? So finalize method we have seen. In a last lab program, we have seen what is a get class method. It was a returning you class followed by the class name, get class. If you want to know object hash code, don't worry about what is a hash code. For every object, there will be a representation number, right? So if you want to see that particular representation number, you can go with a method called a hash code. There are methods called a notify all. These things we will be discussing once we start with the synchronization topic, right? So there is a method called a toString. In the last class, I told you that when I was writing in a lab program, if you observe carefully, when I was writing why do toString, it was showing me error saying that you are defining that particular method again. So I made it as a public saying that that particular toString is different and this particular toString is different, right? So there is a method called a toString which returns a string representation of an object, right? So why? Because object will be represented as a hash code value. It will be identified as a hash code value. Don't worry if you are not knowing all these things. But if you want to print, if you want to make a your string, your object to a string, then you will be having a toString method. We will discuss this one in the next unit, that is a strings concept. Don't worry about that. So till now we have seen a method called a finalize, we have seen a method called a get class. Okay, so this again wait, notify all, these things will come when we are discussing our synchronization topic, right? So that is about object class. If you have any questions with respect to object class, you can ask. If you don't have a question, then quickly we will go through what is known as anonymous inner classes. Got a clarity? Object class is
Sir,
a parent class for all the classes. Yes, yes.
sir, in last line, hence the
Last
object
line.
class act as a root of. Sir, can you explain this?
Hence, object class acts as a root of inheritance hierarchy in any Java program. See, I told you already, even if you are just a class X, right? So that particular class X will be extending the things from an object class. If I want, if I need to go to a details of this, Let me tell you one small scenario. In a Java library, uh, till a version 8, till version 8 or a 7 of a JDK, you have around 4,300 different classes. 4,300 different classes, and all these classes has got a different what I can say, methods and a functionality. Say for example, string object, right? We say string is an object. When it is an object, it will belong to some class, obviously, right? Integer is an object. When I say integer is object, int is a different, integer is a different. Int is a primitive data type, rather integer is a class. String is a class, integer is a class, right? If I am writing string str, what does it mean? You are creating a reference variable for this particular class, right? If you are writing integer int or integer a, then you are creating a reference for this particular class, right? In the later classes, you will be seeing something called as exceptions, errors. If you are getting errors, what how to handle those errors. Even this is nothing but a one class, exception class. You have a something called as a concept of a thread. Even this is called as a class, right? So similar to this one, in a Java library, you have a more than 4,300 different classes, right? So for all these classes, you have a something called as a parent class, which is called as a object class, right? So what is our subject heading itself is a something called as object oriented programming, right? That means whatever you consider, everything is an object now, right? So now what we are saying, there is a something called as object class which has defined some properties, right? Now whenever you want to call something as an object, now whenever you want to call something as an object, right, whether you are creating a string object or an integer object or a thread object, whichever object you are creating, so all these objects will be inheriting few properties from what is called as object class, right? In a previous classes, you might have seen something like you might have a created int array, right? Like I'll say integer a, that means that this is a particular array is equal to new integer. This creates array, right? When you are creating this array, can you directly use a dot size? Correct, right? So now what I mean to say is you are just creating object of integer class, but you are able to access a method with respect to that particular object. Where does this particular method came? Correct. On arrays, you have something called as a function called a sort, right? Array dot sort. You can do array dot sort directly. Where does this particular sort method came from? Who has defined these particular things, right? So all these methods are defined with respect to an integer. So in this particular class called an integer, again this particular integer class will be inheriting a few properties from its object class, right? So there are a few properties need to be given for any object you create, right? All those properties are defined in a class called the object class, right? So this is something like, till now you have not seen a background hero That particular background hero is nothing but this particular object class, which acts as parent for all the classes whichever you have with respect to Java. Whether it is a thread class, whether it is an exception class, whether it is a string class, whether it is an integer class, whichever classes you say, for all these classes, you have a parent class which is called as object. And this is a system defined class inbuilt with respect to a system. You are not defining this particular class. Did I answer your question? Yes. The next topic which I have to discuss is anonymous inner class. Okay. So according to your syllabus, I don't think you have an example to be explained with respect to this particular anonymous inner class. But as we have taken a name called anonymous inner class, I'll show you a small example how to work with these things. Right. First, we will understand what exactly is anonymous means. Anonymous in the sense, I don't have a name, right? So when I don't have a name, what does it mean? Actually, exactly. Say for example, how you will be creating a class. You will be creating a class something like this, class X within a curly braces, right? So now what is the name of this particular class? The name of this particular class is nothing but a X, right? Now what I'm saying is anonymous class. That means I don't have a name for this particular class. That means this is something like this. There is a class, but there is no name for this particular class. Hence it is called as anonymous class. Anonymous is nothing but unknown, right? I don't know what is the name of that particular class. These kind of a classes are nothing but anonymous class. Correct? When I say these type of a classes are nothing but anonymous class, the immediate question will come in your mind. Then if a class is not having a name, then how to create object of that? Right? So if you are just creating a class, what it is? If you are just creating a class, then it is just a blueprint, logical existence, not a physical existence. Correct? So now for this particular class called X, if I want to create object, you will be writing the X obj is equal to new X, right? So now what I'm saying is I don't have a name of this particular X itself. Class is there, but a name is not there. When a name is not there, then how you will use that particular class? A big question need to be addressed, right? There should be a proper answer given for this particular question. Correct? Without specifying a name, how you will go with a class? Am I asking a valid question? Whether a discussion is in a proper fashion? I have just elaborated whatever is the heading says. Anonymous inner classes. Anonymous means I don't know what is the name of that class. In the sense inner we will discuss later. So means class within a class. Okay. Anonymous inner class in the sense I have a class which doesn't have any name. Correct? Huh. Now let us understand first why you wanted these kind of things first. Right? Yes. Whatever I have said till now, class is there but a name is not there. How to create object, that we will see later, right? A class which is not having a name, it is called as anonymous class. That is anonymous class. Now let us understand first what is the purpose of this one, right? Purpose is something like this. Say for example, you have been to a particular location. I'm just explaining a scenario. Just have an imagination. I'm not writing anything on the screen. I'm just telling you a one random scenario. Right. So what I mean to say is, say for example, you are traveling from a one place to another place. Say for example, from a Bangalore, you are traveling to a Kerala. Right. When you are traveling to a Kerala, so now assume that you are traveling by a cab, right? You have a hired a cab, and you are traveling in a some Ola or Ola cab. Assume you are traveling in a Ola cab. You have a booked a cab. You have reached from, say for example, don't take a till Kerala. You just take from Majestic to you are traveling to a Marathalli. There is some place in Bangalore, Marathalli. Okay, you have a booked a cab. You have traveled from a one place to another place, right? Everything is fine now. Okay, when you have a paid, when you have a booked things online, once you reach your destination, you will be paying the amount in the online itself, so everything will be fine. From a source to destination you have traveled. Okay, now after getting down at a Marathalli, your friend came to you and he started asking you a question, right? At what time you reached Majestic, how you got into a cab, and all those things. He will be asking you a few questions, and you will be answering those questions. Now, between a conversation, does anybody will ask you what was the name of the driver? Does anybody asks you, like, after getting down from the car, does anybody ask you, like, you traveled in a cab, right? So what was the name of that particular driver? Or will they ask you a question something like, what was the name of a person who gave a ticket in a bus, right? So what I mean to say is, there will be a few scenarios, there will be a few scenarios where you are not interested in knowing the name of the class, right? So what I mean to say is, there will be a certain scenarios where there will be a no necessity of knowing the name of the class, right? Whenever I say there is a no necessity of a knowing a class, then obviously those actions will be a limited one. Limited means rarely you will be using. Say for example, if you are taking a cab from one place to another place, means you might be traveling very rare, maybe for a 2 months or a 3 months once, right? For a 2 months or a 3 months traveling, can I take a car by my own? Not a preferred, right? Say for example, if you are going to your native place once in a 6 months, you will not purchase a train for that particular travel, right? Right. So what was my question is, if you want to travel to your native once in a 6 months, once in a 6 months, right? When the requirement is to travel once in a 6 months, you will not interested in purchasing a train for that. Nobody will do that, right? So now what I'm saying is, when a requirement is one time execution, that means very rarely if you want some instructions need to be executed, then don't make it as a separate class, right? Rather implement that particular set of instructions assuming that there is some class without having any name. How to do that and all, I will explain you later, but be clear with the scenario first, right? So what is the scenario is saying? When you have requirement such that you don't want to execute a few set of instructions repeatedly, that means I don't want to make a prototype of that one, identify that particular prototype by specifying some name, I don't want to do all these things, right? Write it there itself, execute, create object of that one. During the creation itself, you tell what instruction need to be executed, then call that particular method, right? If you have something like a fast food kind of a structure, right? Do it there itself, use it there itself, then no need to create some class, right? Huh. Now if you are clear with the scenario, then we will see example how to do all these things. Now, say for example, for understanding the things in a better way, I am creating one class called a popcorn. Under this particular class, I have a method called a taste. Under this particular method, shall I write these things in a JEdit? Just 5 minutes for this particular explanation. Don't look at your times. Class, let me save this. Anonymous.java. Okay, so this is just a main method, right? So what was I was explaining is, you have a class which is called as something like a pop. So under this particular class, I have a method which is called as a taste. right? So what I have done is I have created a class called as a popcorn, and I said that the taste of this particular popcorn is nothing but a sweet, right? Now, if I want to create object, if I want to create object of this particular popcorn p is equal to, so using a p, I can call a method called the taste, right? So no doubts will be there in the execution of this particular program, right? So we have not done anything extra. So we have created one class called a popcorn. We have defined a taste called as a sweet, and we have a specified. We have created object of that and calling this particular method. So now everything is a fine. Just assume that along with this particular method called a taste, you have another 99 methods in this particular popcorn class, right? So be clear with the implementation part. I have a defined one class. I gave a one concrete method which is called as a test. Now what I'm saying is, along with this particular test method, you have so many different methods also. Some 99 methods are there, right? Now by creating an object of this particular popcorn class, you can access all these 100 methods, correct? Now what I'm saying is, yes, I have all these 100 methods now, but there is a requirement. Somebody in the middle is coming and asking for some mixed taste. That means he is telling me to combine some caramel and a sweet, right? When he is saying some intermediate flavor, so this will not be a regular requirement, not a regular requirement, right? When it is not a regular requirement, I don't want to create a class for this and just send asking extend that particular parent class, use all the 100 methods. Now you give a one more definition. I don't want to do all these hectic things. Are you understanding the problem? What I mean to say is, I have already defined 100 methods now. Now during the execution, I have a one more requirement. One more person is coming and asking for a different taste, right? When he is asking a different taste, I will be having a two options. One, you create a one more method in that particular class with a different taste, or you create a one more class, extend a previous existing popcorn class, then define a new value, right? When I'm extending means I am creating one more class, one more definition for a taste method, right? So what I mean to say is, if I have a new taste for some other person X, I need to have class new popcorn, right? So in this particular class new popcorn, again I have to write a new definition for a taste, something like system dot out dot println of mixed. This is a mixed flavor, right? So let this particular thing extends already existing popcorn. Are you able to understand now? A mixed new flavor has been asked, and I'm saying that this particular new flavor is the only requirement from a one customer, not this is not a regular requirement, right? When this particular requirement is not regular, I don't want to create a class for that, right? When I'm rarely visiting my native, I don't want to purchase a train, right? So what I have to do is I have to go with what is called as anonymous class, right? So what does anonymous class means? Observe the syntax carefully. Now if I am writing new popcorn, am I creating object? To be interactive, we will finish in some 2 minutes, right? So what is my question? If I am writing a new popcorn, are we creating an object of that particular class? New object, right?
No, sir.
New, what does the new keyword will do? If I'm writing a new popcorn, are we creating object of a popcorn class? New keyword is used for a creating object, right? If I'm using a new followed by a popcorn, then I'm creating object of that particular class. Yes, I don't have a reference for this particular object created, but that will create a object for me. Here I don't have a reference pointing to this particular object, but I have an object created, right? If I am writing something like popcorn object 2, then this particular object 2 is a reference for this object created. Till now, no doubts, right? Now, instead of writing a semicolon, right? If I am writing a block, after this particular block, I'll write a semicolon. Be clear with the syntax. If you are clear with the syntax, you will understand what is anonymous classes, right? So what I'm saying is, if I'm writing a semicolon here itself, then the object of a popcorn will be created and the object 2 will be referring to that particular object whatever you have created. This is the scenario if I'm writing semicolon. If I am not writing a semicolon, then I wrote some block for this, right? When I write a block for this will be something like, I'll show you here. After this, I have a bracket, I have a few instructions, then I have a closing of a bracket and a semicolon, right? Semicolon, just to say that is the end of a statement. If you observe these particular brackets followed by this one, is it looking something like a constructor? If I'm writing some name followed by a bracket, so opening a bracket and closing a block, is it something like a constructor itself? Right? When I see a constructor, when we say something like a constructor, whether that particular name is representing a class itself, right? Now what I'm saying is, this particular block within this particular part, I will be giving a new definition, right? So what is the new definition? Void test, right? This particular test is a method, right? Now whatever I'm writing is the method. System dot out dot println mixed, right? So this particular part is nothing but a new definition which has defined within this particular class, right? So according to this particular program, whatever block we have written from this point to this point, here this particular popcorn is considered as parent class, and this particular new followed by popcorn, you have a block for this, right? This is a child class without having its class name. See, here I am not writing any class X, right? I'm just writing a opening curly brace and a closing curly brace, right? So this particular part acts as a class definition without specifying a class name. Be clear with my statement. This part is nothing but a parent class reference. That part, popcorn object 2, is nothing but a parent class reference. Whatever the bracket you are seeing, this is nothing but new class definition without having any name for it, right? So whatever a new popcorn, if you are writing this one, this is considered as your child class object, right? So if you are writing any program something like this, what it indicates is your parent class reference is holding a child class object, and the definition of that particular anonymous class is this one. Now if I am using object 2 dot taste, whatever the taste has been defined here, that particular taste it will display. What is the class name? Just I wanted to compile once. Java C. There is a class called anonymous. Within this particular class, you are defining a one more class, right? So this is your inner class. For this particular inner class, I have not given any name, so it is anonymous inner class. When to go with this particular anonymous inner class? When you have a requirement such that that particular set of instructions only executed only once, and that too very rarely. So in that scenario, you will be going with anonymous inner classes, and this is only 0.1% of requirements. That means you will not be having any requirement. Nowhere you will be having these kind of requirements. But this is just a flexibility given by the Java. I know syntax might be a slightly confusing, so I have taken from the start. I wrote each and every statement and shown you. If you are writing a semicolon here itself, you are just creating an object of your parent class. I said that I am not writing a semicolon here, rather I am interested in specifying a block, right? When within a new keyword, if you are specifying a block, then this will be considered as one more class definition. Within a class definition, you can write anything once object has been created. So this will be something like parent class reference, and this object will be nothing but your child class object. When I'm writing a new popcorn, it will not be considered as a parent class object, because you have a class definition later. You have not written a semicolon. You have a class definition later, right? You don't have a name for that, but there is a definition after this particular new keyword specified, right? So this particular block from this particular new till this particular closing parenthesis, this will be something like you are extending your parent class, which is called as a popcorn, with some other class. I know this particular way of writing, that means a syntax is completely new. You might have not used this particular syntax, and keep in mind you are not using this kind of a syntax in the later classes also, right? So this is just for justifying a statement of anonymous inner classes, right? So good. If you have any questions with respect to this, you can post those questions. Shaifullah, sir, can we say like popcorn object is equal to new popcorn within bracket with a new popcorn? Shaifullah, I didn't understand your question. If you are not interested in holding a reference, you can just write a new popcorn. This we have seen when we are discussing a nested classes.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, before this you written there. We can say like new popcorn.
Yes, I wrote something called as a new popcorn.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
And you said this is we can call as object.
Yes, we can call it object. For this,
Then we
I can
can say
directly
that
write a test also.
popcorn P.
I can write something like this also. I can write a new popcorn dot test also.
Okay, sir.
When you have an intention of holding a reference of object created, then only you have to write a popcorn P is equal to new popcorn. If you don't want to hold the instance of that, if you don't want a reference of object created, you can directly write something like this.
Okay, sir.
Yes. This we have discussed with respect to a normal inner classes. If you have any confusion, go through the normal inner class. We have said that normal inner class, first you have to create object of outer class, then only you can create object of inner class, right? So there also in a single line we were calling a method in a inner class something like new outer class dot new inner class dot method, if you remember. We wrote something like this: new outer, this is outer class object, new inner, we said that this is an inner class object, Within this particular inner, there was a method called a M1. This is how we have written with respect to a inner classes, right? So here,
Yes, sir.
I'm telling like this is just a creating instance. If I'm writing a semicolon, then it will create an object. I'm not interested in creating object. Rather, I'm interested in creating a unnamed class. So I wrote a block for this. This particular block acts as a class without a name. Once I share the recording, go through the recording carefully. If you have a questions, please post me in a WhatsApp. You can leave the session. Thanks for your time and be more interactive.